The words "I can't breathe," a slogan associated with Black Lives Matter and global marches in protest of police brutality, have sparked worldwide conversations on anti-Black racism. In a new poll commissioned by Rogers Sports and Media, Canadians are asked about their views on racism and discrimination here at home, whether they think it exists and if they're guilty of it. In our survey, we asked if Canadians think discrimination happens in the country. 2/3 said they believe it is common. The remaining who answered no is what has one professor concerned.
What happened to the other 1/3? Where have they lived? We can't hope to change our society if we can't acknowledge that something exists. What are we changing if it doesn't exist?
Half of the 1,750 residents who participated in the poll said they experienced discrimination, while 47% said they never have. CityNews has brought you these stories before.
The swastika is obviously a threat to the community that I live in.
Of racism, like the swastika painted on a homeowner's garage doors, and systemic barriers faced by communities across Canada in the housing market, where some Black renters face discrimination.
I actually had one landlord actually tell me that they were not going to be allowing anybody Black to live in their home.
In hospitals, when a Black man walks in with stroke symptoms, but says staff assumed he was drunk.
I'm a victim of systematic racism.
When asked if there are barriers or obstacles to success for people of some races that don't exist for others, most said they believe there is systemic or institutional racism in Canada. 9% didn't think so.
We need to be using anti-racism frameworks. And one of the first tenets of anti-racism is that racism is here and operating. The first thing they should do is acknowledge and admit that that racism is operating around you systemically and structurally and inside of you.
Another question we asked Canadians, if they have racist views. 1% said a lot, 22% of respondents said some, and the majority, 76%, answered no. The pollster says there are people who are racist and unapologetically so. Then there are others.
There are a whole lot of other people who say, I act in ways that are discriminatory. I don't always know what they are. I don't always think about them consciously. And then there's a whole bunch of other people who probably do those kinds of behaviors, but aren't yet able to or willing to acknowledge that they are part of a system where there is discrimination.
Kika Ojo-Thompson says the fact that the majority of Canadians don't believe they hold racist views is problematic.
How we'll know that we're shifting for the better is when more Canadians actually acknowledge their racism and acknowledge that systemic racism is here in Canada and with us. We cannot address what we are not willing to face.
Ahead on City News, we ask Canadians if they think they act in ways that discriminate against others. The answers may be surprising to some.